Hey everybody, welcome again to another episode of Just for Fun Games. This is your boy Azzy, along with my friend Roy, and we're going to be reviewing Raya and the Last Dragon. And just at the top of it, we're going to make sure that this beginning section has no spoilers. And we understand that there's going to be a lot of people who are probably going to wait until, like, a lot of you with Disney Plus memberships are probably going to wait until this movie is free before you actually give it a shot, because $30 for a movie is still pretty big, especially if you could just wait and you'll get it eventually. So, at the top, how would we feel about this movie? Again, like I said, this is a movie starring Kelly Marie Tran as Raya and Aquafina as the titular Last Dragon, Sisu.
Sisu.
Yes, I'm thinking of like the PlayStation game Sifu is like popping up in my head.
Don't get it confused now, because now I'm thinking about that shit all the time. Anyway, Sifu. Oh, Sisu.
Yeah.
Sisu. See?
Sisu.
And
It's Sisu.
Look, see, I always have bad memory with names, but I remember everybody's name in this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be shocking. So just a quick cliff notes of the plot. This exists in a world. We get a quick overview of a world with 5 different clans. They're all living in harmony along with dragons when this malevolent force, Kumandra, yes. When this malevolent force appears called the Droon, that effectively is like this evil cloud that when it washes over you, it strips you of your soul and your body turns to stone. And as the Droon is washing over the land and effectively killing everyone, the last dragons, the final dragon Sisu essentially coalesces all of her magical power into an orb that then banishes the Droon and brings about peace. But from that point, like, all the dragons have been effectively are stoned, which sounds weird. Cut that part. Effectively, at that point, it's a world that without dragons, and they left the humans with this idea that, okay, well, here's the world that you need to live and share and prosper in. And of course, they didn't. The orb that Sisu left behind is in the possession of one of those kingdoms that exist on a map that looks like a giant dragon, where each town is at a different point of the dragon. So we start off in the Heart Kingdom, and we're introduced to Raya. Her father, whose name is Chief Benja, invites the other clans to the Heart Kingdom.
Long story short, he brings them all up there. It's all good. And Raya's making friend with Namari, right? Namari?
Yep, Namari.
Okay. Making friends with Namari. She's like, hey, I got something to show you. Shows her the dragon. What is it? I want to say the orb.
It was referred to as the spirit of Sisu.
Okay, so yeah, basically, then so basically, when that happens, Namari's like, well, thank you. This belongs to Fang now. And then that's when shit went all wrong. All the clans were fighting over it, and then they eventually broke it and releasing the I want to say drone. No, Droon.
It's Droon.
God, I remember the character names, but I couldn't remember the monsters.
Namari, it's like Raya and Namari seem to be hitting it off. They have so much in common, and Raya's father really wanted to bring the different clans together in harmony to effectively resurrect Kumandra that's been splintered ever since the dragons disappeared. So Namari gives Raya a necklace, the first instance of this reoccurring ritual that will keep reappearing throughout the movie. This idea of giving a gift in order to, like, offer up, asking someone for their trust. And then Raya tries to repay that by going, hey, you and I are both Sisu fans. I want to show you the stone. And that's the quintessential Disney heroine mistake.
Yeah, it was so predictable.
Yeah. So Namari was actually, you can askew that Namari was actually might have actually been sent in as to act like a double agent to get Raya's trust. And then once she had the location of the orb, she fired off a firework to notify the rest of her clan, the Fang clan. And during the commotion, because Raya's father came in to hold them back, the other clans came in. Just as Nick said, I'm just reiterating. They all try to fight over the orb. It breaks. The Droon reappear, and Raya's father sacrifices himself to save her because the fragments of the jewel can still repel the Droon. So each clan gets one fragment, and then it skips ahead 6 years as Raya is trying to effectively fix the world that she feels like she's partly to blame for ruining.
Yep.
And if the one thing that the one crystalline, and I'm doing this on accident, but whatever. if the one, if the one crystalline thought came to mind at the end of this movie was, it felt like the entire thing was in fast forward. There was just so much to touch on, so much to get to, so many characters, and it just didn't feel like it had a long enough runtime, which it's shocking because if you look, do you know how long the movie is?
I didn't know. It was just going by so fast. I'm gonna say I was enjoying it. So at the time it was over, I was like, okay, it was over. I was like,
yeah, no, I really like that movie too, but it's an hour and 47 minutes long, and I felt like it might have been like 20 minutes shorter than that because it does go by really fast.
Yeah, but I'll say I don't say there's like no scenes where it's like dragging, but like like you said, it seems like it's in fast forward because my issue was in the very beginning how quickly we met Sisu. You know, I was like, damn, 20 minutes in, we're already meeting this character. But I would assume that because it's a Disney movie, they want to keep the like little fantasy kids theme going real quick.
It definitely did feel like it was checking off a lot of Disney boxes. Like they kept they referred to Raya as the Princess of Heart, and where's Sora? And Numari was the Princess of Fang. So okay, we have a Disney princess. She has her cute little sidekick in Tuk Tuk. Getting back to that said checklist, like we had mentioned earlier, there was the critical mistake that leads to the checklist. That's like the critical mistake is more of just a shtick with Disney heroes and heroines.
Right. Hold on.
And children's animation in general. That that it tends to crop up. And I'm not railing against that, but because the movie felt so fast, to be happy that we got as much time with Sisu as we did, because with each, and the adventure after the introduction starts at the back end, on the far right end of what was Kumandra in Tail, and it progresses from there, and each place picks up another merry member of the band, and we don't really get a lot of time with them. It's like the earlier the character came in, the more time we actually got with them, which meant that the characters at the back end, do you remember their names? Like the name of the baby?
Noi?
Is it not? Yeah, it is Noi. But the notion that the baby was such an afterthought that they
baby.
made that it was Khan Baby, and but the notion of the name was such a afterthought that it was a joke. They made a joke about it, like his name is Kang, voiced by the Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays, or Benedict Wong. Sorry,
you mean
Benedict
Tong?
Wong.
Tong?
Sure,
that's his name.
Let's just say that. I'll let you have Tong.
His name.
We'll agree on Tuk Tuk, and we'll say Tong. I don't
his
care.
name is Tong.
I don't care. No insult. By no means attempting to insult any South Asians that might be watching this video, but but you get my point. The Khan baby's name was turned into a joke because it was just not essential to the plot, though you think it should be. The music was great. Like Disney is really locked down. Disney's really locked down on their look, their style of visual presentation, and the world was varied, vibrant, and gorgeous to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the beginning up until like the middle, it felt almost a bit by the numbers. Gorgeous movie, love the music. It was and the music was very different than anything I've ever heard, which coincides with the idea that it very much seems like Disney's trying to hit all the places in the world that we haven't had an big animated feature set in,
Mm-hmm.
South Asian culture and such. But it didn't really feel like it was. Like I felt like I knew what was going to happen before it was happening.
Yeah, it was a pretty predictable movie.
And it was hitting you over head with the theme like it was a freaking Fast and the Furious movie.
Yeah.
It's like just replace family with trust. I feel like we could count how many times I say the word trust.
Oh yeah, they were using it a lot near the last part of the end of the movie. About to say, yes. I was like, yes. Yeah, if this was a drinking game, I'd be dead by the end.
Oh, and the action though, the fights were very good.
Yeah, they were good.
Very good. So I mean, I haven't seen good snake swords since what was her name, Ivy in Soul Calibur.
Yeah. That's why I was like, oh, you got the Ivy sword up in here. I'm loving this.
Oh, and this might be a little bit personal for you, but didn't Numari have that kind of what's her name from The Last of Us Part 2?
Abby.
Yeah, she had an Abby energy to her.
See, I'm gonna get to it later on who these characters remind me of another cartoon.
Okay, all right. So the last part that I wanted to touch on for me was that while I felt like I knew what was happening and where it was going, the end of this movie, the last like Act 3, if you want to effectively say it, was awesome. It was so much better than where I was going. Like there's a point in the movie where you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming, and it just rolls from there. Like it keeps the momentum. I loved the ending for this movie.
Yeah, I say because like now I'm not gonna say anything spoilery, but it was funny after watching this. Paying $30, I'm like, God damn, this motherfucker better be good.
Yeah.
I will say this movie is my favorite movie of this year. Have you seen any other movies better than this?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
There was a moment when the notion of Monster Hunter came up. It's like, please don't make me.
I still haven't seen that. We'll never see that. But anyway.
If I were to give this movie a score, I would give it an 8. I feel like it was a really good movie, very entertaining. It may have stumbled a little bit with like expected material, things we expect out of a Disney movie, but otherwise it sticks the landing and it finishes with a flourish.
Flourish. Me, on the other hand, I give this movie a 9. I really enjoyed this movie. I'll say it was bringing back some old feelings, and it made me cry. And that's one thing I love to do watching Disney movies is to cry. And I'm sorry, Soul didn't make me cry. So me personally, I like this better than Soul.
Oh yeah, I would definitely say this is better than Soul. I can't remember what I rated on Soul. I hope I gave it a 7, but I really like this movie. I really hope you guys take an interest and go watch it for yourselves, whether or not you feel like paying the $30 to see it like we did, or if you're just gonna wait. But if you do wait, please, when you get the chance, watch the movie. As you can tell, we both really liked it. So from this point, we're gonna go into spoiler territory. If you haven't seen the movie, please, by all means, dip out at this point and come back later. We'll still be here.
Run.
Going back to what I was saying before about how, because the movie felt like it was a fast forward and you couldn't spend a lot of time with many of the characters, just as a nitpick, and this is only because I literally just rewatched the movie, it felt like, because think about it, like, it felt like we were trying to memorize 20 names
I
for
remember
and
them
like
all.
15 of the, okay, I would like the names of Sifu's brothers and sisters, please.
Sifu's brothers and oh yeah, you can forget that. They
Sisu.
well, they didn't matter. Okay, you know,
And but that's the thing.
they were
She
only name
named them.
dropped.
It wasn't that just that they were name dropped. They name dropped them, and they appear, and they don't ever say anything. I don't know why that bothered me. It's like they're like, "Oh, they're reunited. That's great. Say
Yeah,
something. Say
yeah.
something.
No,
Tease her.
well,
Give us a."
I feel like it wasn't about them. Yeah, they made the stone and everything, but at this point, do we need to have more dragons to be talking? We only got the one that matters, Sifu.
All I wanted,
Sishu. God damn,
Sisu. Yeah. All I wanted was some like passing characterization of theirs. Like there's literally a scene where they're like running alongside each other on the rain, which was a gorgeous effect. And it's like right there, he's like maybe just the older brother saying, "I'm proud of you," because they did trust her and left it on her to essentially finish the science project. Also, was I the only one who thought that Sisu was going to like part of the plot was going to be Sisu discovering her own magic power because I'm a good swimmer doesn't sound like a magic power?
No, but like that's what I thought it too. I was like, when she was touching all the other pieces of the stone, getting everybody else's power, I was like, so what's her power? And all it is a great swimmer. great swimmer.
And they played it up as a joke. They played it up as a joke. And granted, she's a good enough swimmer to propel an entire like restaurant ship down the river, but still, it's like, okay, summoning the rain, being able to produce fog, glowing.
Yeah.
I mean, the glowing was also the weakest one, but still,
good swimmer. Like what did she use the glowing thing for? Just when she first touched the art stone?
When she confronted Namari, I guess to draw more attention to herself. Look how gorgeous I am.
Yeah.
Which,
go ahead.
Of which Namari became like my favorite character. There was obvious conflict. Like while from the start, as a kid, you think, "Oh, this conniving little bitch." She manipulated Raya for the sake of her family, and it was obviously not necessarily something that Namari wanted. She acts and does to try and please her mother. So this is when Mom gestures little Namari to go and meet with Raya. It's like, go do your mission. Give me that stone. But towards the end, when Sisu is trying to defend Ryan, trying to scare off Namari, and that look that they like they lock gazes.
We locked eyes.
We locked eyes. But the emotion that they were able to convey in Namari's face there when Sisu meets her when she's conflicted with Sisu while she has the crossbow pointed. And at the end, when the whole gang's back together, like the raw emotion, that's what made me kind of misty-eyed.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that part. This is what I was referring to earlier. It's the part when Raya, it's like, hey, we got to do this. They were trapped, and it's like, hey, we're not going to trust, somebody from Fang, and Raya's like, you know what? Whatever, gives her piece of the stone, and she becomes stone. I was like, man, wait a minute. And then the more I watched that scene, I was like, wait a minute, this reminds me of another movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. At the end, when he touched it,
I thought that too. But what was really great about that scene? By then, Raya was starting to understand that the notion wasn't so much. Well, yes, the orb did have like dragon magic infused in it, but what really allowed it to force back the drone, Sisu had remarked that the Droon were effectively discord made manifest. So trust and harmony are their opposite. So it's really bringing together several people that trusting each other in entirety. and having that cohesion and that harmony is what repels the drone. So when like the each member of the band represented a different area of what would have been Kumandra, and Raya making that first step and saying like, you know what, I'm going to trust in her to be the hero, and that scene wouldn't have as big of an effect. That scene wouldn't have as big of an effect if Namari didn't have the opportunity to leave with all the stones, almost took it, turned around, and changed her mind. That was the important part.
Yeah, because
When like
when I saw that, I was like,
coming through.
I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a whole lot of trouble if she walks out that damn little cavern. But she didn't. She did the right thing.
And the other thing I liked about it is like I thought about it. Whenever the drone took somebody, except for most of the band at the end, whenever the drone took somebody, they'd become stone statues with their hands outstretched like this. Yeah. And at the end, we get to see what that position is actually meaning for. It's almost like they're praying and begging for the rain, because it's the rain that brings them back. Did the music, like when the storm was swelling, did the music sound like something you would expect out of like animation from the 90s? Like, I don't know, it had like a retro feel to it.
I don't remember that track. I remember the track when they were devising the plan to go to Fang. That song was bumping. I like that. It was funny when they were talking about the plan, and Boone came in there. It's like, and we get the piece for Sishu, and it was like all anime looking. It was cool.
Oh yeah. When his plan to get Fang's piece of the stone, yeah, like I liked the jump in animation style where it was almost like Incredibles or wannabe anime.
Yeah.
It's prune, by the way.
Yeah. Sisu, her plan was, that shit was funny. It's like, oh my god,
oh my god,
we're best friends ever. And they're like, nah, I like Boone's plan better.
I can't remember if they said it in the movie now, but rather than the notion of being open to trusting someone that you might think is untrustworthy, I feel like the better message from the movie was blind optimism is a no-win scenario, but no optimism is just as bad.
Yeah, but I say I understand what you're talking about, because I get this brought up at work sometimes, where they're like, Nick, why are you so mean to everybody? I'm just like, I'm not mean to everybody. I have, like, this whole movie's talking about trust. Yes, I have little trust issues here. I have reason to have trust issues, but I mean, I about to say now, granted, I don't treat everybody the same way. If you come at me some way, yeah. Basically how Namari was treating Raya. She was coming at her some kind of way. Raya's basic instinct is, retaliate.
Raya was very jaded.
Yeah.
And she spent the majority of the movie talking about how you like trying to tell Sisu that this just isn't a world where you could trust anybody that isn't from, your own home. But then at the same time, progressively finding people that she can actually trust. And then on the flip side, Sisu had like the opposite reaction, where she was thrown into the world of credit.
Oh, that part was great. It's like, I'm gonna buy this for credit, and then she's like, "Hey, you're gonna pay for that?" He's like, "No, I'm gonna put this on credit." It's like, we don't know you. But yeah, to refer,
you're not an adult yet until you've you're not an adult yet until you start dabbling in credit.
Yeah, don't do what she did, kids. But referring back to another cartoon that reminded me of this one, very very slim, but it was with the characters. The characters remind me of my favorite movie, Land Before Time.
Shit.
Being that Raya was Littlefoot, Namari was Sarah, Ducky was Noi, Spike was Tong, and Petrie was Boone. And they all had to work together to get to this one point where they can all be one. Well, basically, it was difference with Land Before Time. They had to go to the Great Valley, but hence they were trying to make Kumandra.
Does that make Sisu Chomper?
No. I was trying to figure out who the hell could Sisu be, but yeah, that's where I was like, these characters starting to look familiar,
But I feel like this is a trick that they're not gonna be able to do a second time, but at least this time it got me, because movie started. She's only got a dad. There's like an 80. I'm pretty confident every adult that watches this movie is going to think there's an 80% chance that this dad's going to die.
Oh, I thought he was going to die right from the get go. When the arrow shot him, I was like, this is where I cry. And he got shot in the leg. I was like, oh, thank God. But it was the scene after that when he was telling Raya, I was like, you got to fix this, and pushes her off the bridge. And that's when I cried. I was like, no, no.
Did you think that Sisu was going to die though?
No, that one caught me off by surprise. I thought
exactly.
What I thought was going to happen, like typical every Disney movie is that Raya and Sisu were going to have a fight and then split off and then somehow come back together or something. Like, apparently that didn't happen. Apparently Sisu was trying to bargain with Namari, and Raya, being untrusting, couldn't trust Namari, and made her shoot the arrow into Sisu.
It's that hitting rock bottom moment that you expect, but it felt like we already had that at the beginning, because they, the Heart Kingdom was really nice, and they were like, it was idyllic. And they were promoting peace. They were trying to bring everybody together, and then shit hits the fan. And Raya had been carrying what she thought to be her critical failure and trying to fix it by saving the world, by finding Sisu and getting everything back together and saving the world that way. And then we come down to this moment where, again, it all boils down to trust. And Sisu asks Raya to trust her, as she believes that Namari can switch sides, that she can be helpful, that she can be redeemed effectively. But by the end, Raya couldn't do it, and by effect, I saw Sisu get shot, and it didn't hit home that she was dead until Tong was like, with the last dragon gone, the water went with her. It was like, oh shit, she's actually dead. Not, oh no, she's hurt. She's dead.
She dead.
And Raya storming into storming into Fang.
I felt that part. I was like, oh yeah, we gonna kill her. We gonna kill her.
And but it was Raya's fault that time.
Yeah, it was totally right.
See, where you could put the blame on Namari for betraying her when she got taken to the orb. This was on Raya.
Yeah. So pretty much, everybody's at fault, and that's the thing. Like, this is where it kind of hit home with me. People make mistakes, either they're intended or unintentional. It's the point of forgiveness. Can you forgive somebody for doing this?
Yeah.
But overall, love this movie. Loved it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. What did you think about the movie? Go ahead, put your comments down below. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and we will see you guys in the next video. I've been Azzy. That's been Roy. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Deuces.